Hello, and welcome to Up Close and Personal with Inelia Benz. I'm your host, Helene Lipson. For our listeners not yet acquainted with Inelia, she was born in Chile and entered this world directly from source energy without any karmic debt, and she came into this life with a sense of knowingness on a pure mission. Her soul's purpose is to raise the vibrational level of the planet to a critical point that will allow a transitioning into the new paradigm, the new level of awareness for everything, for the planet and everything in it, every rock, every insect, every person. And to do that job, Inelia is a spiritual catalyst, awakening those asleep, helping those already aware to reach a higher vibrational level. And she's even traveled to different geographical areas in various ways for the sake of cleansing it so that the vibration can come through properly. Our program today is about relationships, and we will be talking to Inelia about her boyfriends, her husbands, and some of her views on happy spiritual partnerships. Many people wonder, what would it be like to date or even be married to somebody like Inelia Benz? Someone viewed as such a spiritual being, acting as a model of what humanity can be. Today, we'll have the opportunity to talk with Inelia, up close and personal. Hello, Inelia.
Hi, Helene. How are you?
Oh, very, very good. I'm so excited about our show. We're going to be talking about relationships, your partnerships, and maybe some of your views about happy spiritual unions. And so, right now you're married, aren't you?
I am indeed married, yes. I've been married. This is my second marriage. I've been married twice. And so, yeah, it's like this is one of the most fascinating subjects that I've had to learn about on the planet because I grew up in well, with a Chilean mother, right? And up to age 7, I was in Chile. I lived in Chile. Then I moved to Argentina. And then I moved to England, and then I moved to Ireland, and then I moved to Spain. So each culture really has a very distinct energy with regards to partnerships, marriage, and things like that. As a South American woman, in particular in Chile, I don't know about the other South American countries, although the other two that I've been to, which are Argentina and Ecuador, they're both exactly the same. A woman is not complete without a man. It's like women are seen as, oh my God, poor thing if she doesn't have a man, right? So it doesn't matter whether the man is an alcoholic, beats her up, uses up all her money, and she ends up black and blue and penniless in the street because of him. As long as she has a man, she's fine, right? But if she's an independent, well-to-do woman with a beautiful home, everybody feels sorry for her because she doesn't have a man. So that's the Latin culture that I grew up in. And even though in the cities or in like more modern women, the new generation women are disengaging from that subscription, I think is very much up there still. Love and relationships and boyfriends and being one in a couple is so important to Chilean women. Oh my goodness, it's just amazing. And with my own upbringing, my mother was completely and absolutely in love with my father. He was everything to her. He was her entire life. And so, we were as children secondary or not even secondary to that relationship, So, yeah, it was. And she brought me up the same way, and she brought us all up the same way, which was in a way extremely damaging because I felt throughout my very young life, whenever things used to be painful and everything, she would turn around and say, don't worry about it, because when you grow up, you'll meet somebody and you'll be happy, And that program was extremely powerful. And I believed it. And I thought, oh, so this is how this works in this planet. Okay, so I'll just have to grow up and meet somebody and I'll be happy. Of course, it wasn't like that at all, right? It wasn't anywhere near it. It has nothing to do with happiness, you know?
It's so true. Actually, this is the same message we're given everywhere, though. I mean, I don't know if it's as intense as it is as that what you're explaining the way it is in South America, but that's what most women here in the United States feel like, that they need a man
Mm,
and
yeah,
that their value is largely dependent on having one.
right,
The way
right.
you explained it was great though too. I mean, but that is maybe it's more to the extreme in South American women, but I think that it is it's a program that women all around the world share.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking that too because even when I was in Ireland, although in Ireland is slightly different, the main most powerful relationship in Ireland is between a mother and son, right? That's the most powerful relationship they have
Oh.
there. So the couple really comes secondary. Very interesting. Very interesting. In England, it was the first time that I was given the opportunity to meet women who had purposely chosen to be single and live their own life, have a beautiful house or apartment or whatever, and they had lovers and friends or friends with benefits or whatever, but they were extremely happy and fulfilled being alone, right, living by themselves. No men, sometimes with children, sometimes without. Sometimes they would find a father for a child and then quickly get rid of him. But that was the first time that I saw that, and I thought, oh my goodness, that can exist here also.
Something I've been wondering about is the idea of soulmates. Is there actually one person out there that we're supposed to find?
That's a very interesting question because there's a lot of people who believe exactly that. Um, I think that anybody on the planet can become one's soulmate because ultimately, what is a soulmate? People believe that it is one soul that's split into two to have a different experience, and these two souls have a trajectory of evolution on the planet, or sometimes in other planets, where they meet each other in most lifetimes and have experiences and that eventually will lead them to become one soul again. That's a generalization of the theory of the soulmate. And if you think about it as a singularity or singular constructs in the on planet Earth, we're really part of also the collective. So our singular selves are really an illusion of a larger self. And then you go all the way to the universal collective and oneness. In oneness, we are all one that's split into multiple selves. So that's why when I say anybody on the planet can be your soulmate, that's what I mean, that we're all really one, and one can meet somebody else at that level if we want to. Now, what happens when two people meet each other and they resonate very strongly and they realize that they're soulmates is when two souls. Sometimes it has happened that one being has split into two and has had that experience, but their joining together happens as a physical or dual sexual experience of the planet where the person can join completely with another at every level, energy body, physical body, mental body, the ego, the subtle bodies, everything joins together and becomes one. That's the ultimate kind of meeting, right? And at a human level experience, when that happens, it can be the closest one can get sometimes to oneness because you completely join with another. And oneness, that's all it is. When you've experienced a state of oneness or enlightenment as well, is when you join with everything, the universal divine consciousness, and you become one. And at a physical, three-dimensional experience, or even sometimes at even more subtle experiences, that can be felt with somebody else. When two people meet like that, their evolution can speed up or it can slow down. Sometimes if they haven't sorted out, because it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody is highly awakened in order to find their twin soul, right? Sometimes it
Hmm.
happens that two people that are very much asleep meet each other again because that's part of their trajectory. So if two people who are very much asleep and their twin souls meet each other, there can be an awful lot of drama involved, and that's all the word I can say, really. A lot of
Yeah.
drama involved that helps them to wake up eventually, right? Or just to share experiences at a very deep level. Now, when somebody's awake and they meet their soul, twin soul or soulmate, um, then they have an experience of being able to merge and really help each other, I suppose, to evolve and increase their awareness. And there's some really interesting and fun to do exercises. Somebody actually sent me the details of this through the internet, and I tried it out, and sure enough, it works. Where the two people, and I don't know if it's necessarily with a twin soul, but it's easier if you feel that somebody you can trust and absolutely and utterly. So when these people meet, they can do an exercise. And this exercise is really simple. You sit in front of the person and you start playing telepathic games. You start learning how to communicate telepathically. Now, one of the things that's interesting is that telepathy is not the sending of messages like you would when you speak. You actually merge with the other person. You become the other person. And you can do that through generating a sense of beauty on about the other person. That's the universal language, and then you become one. And when you do that, and that's probably why it's so easy you're working with a soulmate, because you find them beautiful anyway, right?
Hmm.
So it's easier. And then eventually you actually become one person. And this can freak people out because you will be one person with two bodies, right? And you will be speaking and saying exactly the same things at the same time and everything, and having the experience of that two perceptions, physical perception through one consciousness is pretty amazing.
That happens a lot though when people are together and together a while. They end up finishing each other's sentences.
Yeah, take it as a notch, like notch it up 100%,
Hmm. Hmm.
and you actually become one. It's not that you're perceiving the other person or you're finishing sentences, you become one person. Yeah, it's like, yeah, why not, you know? Now, the danger, of course, is somebody who believes that they're not going to be happy unless they find their soulmate, right? And they search and search and search. So they spend their entire life searching and they find one after the other because obviously you can actually be soulmates with just about anybody on the planet. And they look and search and they just think and they project their entire happiness onto this one thing that they have to do, which is find their soulmate. And if they don't, they never become happy. It's like following a false god or something. You never
Hmm.
get anywhere. So, and the best way or easiest way to find your soulmate is to become extremely happy and content and satisfied and complete with yourself. Once you do that, then you can probably will find your soulmate immediately.
You were using the term soulmate and twin souls interchangeably. Are
Yeah.
twin flames the same as soulmates?
There, again, we're going to vocabulary here. I do use them interchangeably because they are part of the same paradigm of believing that we are separate from each other. Because if you think that you're going to find you have a soulmate on the planet, you have to believe that you're separate from everybody else on the planet, right? Apart from one person, and that's an illusion. Now, and the twin flames thing is the same kind of paradigm where you meet somebody whom, and I believe the difference is that the twin flame is a karmic kind of joining where you sort things out very quickly with this other person, and that's more dramatic as well. That's why it's called a flame. You burn through stuff. But yeah, a lot of people use them interchangeably, and it is part of the same kind of belief system, right? It's like a religion. But personally speaking, yes, I've had two husbands. I've had a handless, I can't even remember, I think four boyfriends, including the husbands or something. So
Mm,
my experience is not very broad.
okay, okay. But you married early then.
Oh
What?
yeah,
How
yeah.
old were you when you got married the
I
first
got
time?
I got married at 18. Yeah.
18.
And I had no desire to get married or not get married. I had no mean. It meant nothing to me, right? Literally, it meant nothing. And because it meant nothing, when the man wanted to get married, and he was like 20 something, 22, I think, and all he wanted, I mean, he immediately wanted to get married. Immediately wanted to get married. I learned later on why, but at the time he was like really headstrong about it, and I thought, well, it means nothing to me, so what do it, right? Because
Mm-hmm,
it
mm-hmm.
honestly did not mean anything to me. And so, yeah, we got married very, very young. And that relationship was actually very weird because I have beautiful children out of it, really amazing, three amazing children. But he was ex-military,
Mm-hmm.
and he was extremely psychic, very, very powerfully psychic, very talented, extremely intelligent. And he had been messed up. I'm pretty sure if you're not familiar with the MK Ultra projects, that's a project where they take children or young people and they program them to become tools like weapons, right?
Yeah.
And, and I'm pretty sure that happened to him. And for the first few months, everything was fine. And then he had to check in to his a place, a military place. I don't know what they call them. And we went there, and he came back, and he was a different person. You know,
Hmm.
so I think they activated him then, and he then spent all his time, energy, intelligence, and abilities to try and destroy me. And I had no idea what was happening. You know, it's like, what this is about? This is happily ever after. What on earth is this? Because I had no previous experiences. I didn't know what on earth was happening. And I was very easily manipulated in that sense because I was so ignorant about things. I hadn't educated myself with regards to these type of things in relationships or anything. And
Well, Anelia,
yeah, so
very, very few people know about MK Ultra. I mean, maybe they're just starting to, but that was not something that we really knew about, especially back then.
right,
Even though it was
exactly.
happening to a lot of people. I'm a
Yeah.
similar age as you, and so this was happening to a lot of people. I even grew up around Montauk, Long Island, where this was a huge place where this would happen. But I didn't experience it, so it was just not part of my reality. Who would have ever thought that people could be programmed?
Right, right. Yeah, yeah.
It's intense. So how did things change in this instance? I mean, you stayed married for a
A
good chunk of
long
time.
time. Oh yeah, very long time. A very long time. So yeah, I think 14, 16 years or something like that. I was married. And that was the only way really that I was able to be kept vibrationally very low and very inefficient. Because as soon as I would visit somewhere else or move away from my husband for any period of time, even if it was a few days, my energy would go up tremendously and everything was bright and happy and beautiful. So the only way for me to experience suffering and even to understand suffering was to have that continual pain on a daily basis, right? And I thought that was life. I had no idea. I had never had experience of life, so I thought that was it. I thought that was what life was about. And it took me all those years, and all of a sudden it just came to me that I had to move away.
Hmm.
So I did. I followed that, and soon after that, to take off the first layer of anonymity from my field, right? Because I had to have that very powerfully in place as well. So yeah, I mean, it was very interesting. It was a very interesting experience, very bizarre experience, and it gave me a lot of it gave me a lot of understanding. But I never, for one moment, subscribed to the victim-aggressor paradigm. I never became a victim, and I never became an aggressor, even though every day I was pushed to do one or the other in
Hmm.
very powerful ways, very, very strong ways.
And then the thing is, love and spiritual relationships is really just about expressing your love. It's really supposed to be just a beautiful partnership. But you're married now. Is your husband in the spiritual realm of things? Does he do this kind of thing, or is this your journey alone?
I'm certainly not alone. Oh my goodness, it's so crowded here.
I'm sure, actually.
Never, not a moment alone. However, my husband is blissfully asleep by choice, right? And I remember my brother has something very interesting to say about the whole thing about when a woman, the way he saw it, and he explained it, is like it's very difficult sometimes for a man to simply be logistics and supportive of a woman's work, right? If they have any type of ego involved,
Mm-hmm.
or if they have sometimes, and I'm not saying everybody's like this, but there's often you'll find that when a couple get together and the woman is extremely powerful and shiny and able to do, powerful as in ability to do, right? Then sometimes the man will feel that he's being left behind, or he's just there to support her, and he will feel insulted by that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not be willing to do it. And that happens at a career level, it can happen at a daily life level, with regards to their family and friends level, or you can have it happen as well at a spiritual level. And what I found is that my present husband, is also very clear. He's extremely clear. He has no issues. He has no charges or problems. Obviously, like everyday life things, and he's willingly stayed asleep so he can just do logistics. Right?
Mm.
He's very dedicated to being the logistical support, a very stable person, extremely stable person. So I can fly around here, there, and everywhere, physically, spiritually, mystically, everything. And I know that he's there, you know? I know he's there.
How old were your older children when you met him?
So I met him 2003. So you do the math.
Well, you met him 9 years ago.
Right. That's a long time.
And so, since your oldest child is 26, she was a teenager.
Right.
So he did get a chance to see each of the children when they were in late high school age,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and see them as when they were still dependent, or still kind of under your roof.
Right.
Interesting. Wow. Very, very interesting and fascinating talk today about partnerships and relationships and love interests in your life. Definitely a very fascinating up close and personal with Inelia Benz. Thank you so much, Inelia, for being with us today.
No, you're welcome.
Of course. Until next time, till we meet again, love, light, and blessings to all. Namaste.